I'm Heidi from Healing Harvest Homestead, and today I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful tea blend for Valentine's Day, okay? So this tea blend is called Rosy Chocolate Chai, and as many of you know, a chai tea is a tea that originated in India, and it's very spicy and full of herbs that are super healthy for you. And this chai blend is extremely special. I created it years ago, and I used to sell it in my tea shop, and we're actually going to start selling it again here pretty soon when Mr. V gets the tea shop up and going. But it tastes so good. The combination of the black tea, the roses, and the chocolate or the cocoa nibs and the other spices, it's just really, really good. So here it is, my special tea blend. So what you need for this tea is you need some black oolong tea. You need some organic rose petals. Now you need to be sure that the roses are organic, because roses are one of the most heavily sprayed flowers and plants on earth, okay? You don't want to be steeping pesticides in your tea, so please be sure you get organic. In fact, we only use organic herbs or wild crafted, and you know, that we go out and get ourselves or that we grow in our own garden. So buy organic. We use cinnamon chips in this tea. You need ginger chips. When I say chips, basically it's the root that's dried and cut into little bits, okay? And you can buy them like that, or you can do it yourself. Cocoa nibs, and these are little bits of dark chocolate or dark cocoa, some clove buds, and some cardamom seeds. And you're just going to love this. So let's talk about what the herbs do really fast. The oolong tea is full, as well as the cocoa nibs. These are full of antioxidants, so these are really good for your health. All right, they help keep you young, they're anti-aging, and they're just really good for you. Now, with that said, both cocoa and a black tea have caffeine in it. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, you could leave out the chocolate or the cocoa if you wanted to. And you could exchange the black tea for a green tea, or even a honeybush tea or a rooibos tea that doesn't have caffeine in it. All right, but the black oolong tea, I think, gives this blend a very nice overall flavor. But those are some options for you. All right, the roses. Roses are soothing, and they're calming, and they help open your heart spiritually, and I think they are good for your heart physically too. I mean, you know, roses are just beautiful. And then there's cinnamon. The cinnamon, the ginger is in this, and the cloves, and the cardamom. These spices all are antimicrobial, they're anti-inflammatory, they're carminative, so they help your digestion, and they're just overall good for you. So this tea blend, when you look at it, all of it at once, it's just a really, really, really nice blend. Okay, so let's get into the actual recipe now. So you probably know, if you've been watching me for a while, I'm an herbalist, and I like the traditional folk method. Some herbalists like to weigh everything out and be super exact, and I honestly believe that the folk traditions are really good. And one of those traditions is to use something called the parts method. And this means that you basically take a look at about how much quantity you want to make, and then you choose an appropriate measurement for that. So I have a big, huge tea blending bowl, and if I want to make a huge bulk amount of tea, then I'm going to choose a large part, like maybe a cup, or possibly even a 2-cup Pyrex pitcher. All right. If I want to make a smaller amount, and in this case, I want to make maybe, you know, half a mason jar or so, because just Mr. V and I are going to enjoy this ourselves, then I'm going to use a smaller part. A 1/4 cup is probably even too large for that, or perhaps even a tablespoon. I think for our purposes today, I'm going to go ahead and use the tablespoon, okay? Because I just don't want a ton of this. We're making so many teas right now that because he's getting ready to open that shop, and we just have tea coming out our ears. So I'm going to just keep this for he and I, and we're going to make a small amount. So here's the recipe. You need 4 or 5 parts of the black oolong tea, and I just want to show you these leaves. You know, when you buy black tea in the grocery store, in those bags, those really stale, nasty, plastic-filled bags, you know, you're not getting a good quality tea. I'm just being honest. Your best bet with your teas is to buy good loose leaf tea in bulk from a good company that's organic, and you know, steep it, and you're going to see the difference. And I'll talk to you about preparing this in just a minute. But anyway, you know, when you buy your herbs like this and your teas in a loose leaf form, they're just so much better. All right, so you want 4 to 5 parts of your oolong tea. I'm going to put in 5 because I love this black tea as a base. It's just really bitter and nice. And then we're going to go on to the roses. Okay, so these are organic rose petals and buds, and I'm going to put in 4 to 5 scoops of rose petals and buds. Now, I personally love eating and cooking with rose petals, so I'm going to go ahead and add 5, maybe even 6. So I just love my roses. Okay. This is another thing about blending teas. Is there, you know, you can, when you're doing it yourself for your own tea blends, you can adjust them the way you like them. All right, cinnamon chips is up next. Now you can buy cinnamon chips like this, and when I say chips, what they are is, you know how you can buy the cinnamon sticks and they're all big and hard? Well, these are basically cinnamon chips that have been chopped into little bits, but they're not powdered. So they're kind of nice that way. Okay, so I think I put in 4 or 5 parts of cinnamon. Now we're on to ginger chips. Same thing, these are little bits. You can actually chop your ginger up real fine and then dry it in little bits yourself, or you can buy it like this. So I'm going to put in about 3 to 4 parts of ginger. Ginger is extremely powerful, so you want to go a little bit less on the ginger. You can really overpower your blend. Next up is cocoa nibs. Okay, now these have a very mild flavor in your tea. They're not overpowering, so if you really love cocoa, you know, feel free to add in a little bit extra. So I'm going to put in 3 good parts, maybe a little more, of the cocoa nibs, because I love these. And next up is my clove buds. I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 part. Maybe I'll do 1.5 parts clove buds. Cloves, like ginger, are very, very powerful as well. So, you know, you don't want too many of those, or you're going to overpower your rose and your tea flavors. Next up is cardamom pods. Now, these are the green pods. I'm going to put about 1 part. The recipe calls for 1 part. I'm going to put in just about maybe 2 here, maybe 1.5. These have little tiny black seeds in them. They're really pretty like this. They're like little green pods, so they look nice in your tea. But inside them are little black seeds, and you can buy the seeds outside of the pod. Okay, so there's about, you know, 5 or 6 seeds in every single pod. If you do that, you know, just realize if you buy the black little seeds instead, you don't need as much cardamom. It's extremely powerful. So you might want to cut your cardamom in half or even 4ths. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and blend my tea. Blend all my herbs together. And this is such a beautiful tea. It's seriously one of my favorites. All right, so take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Rosy chocolate chai. It is the perfect Valentine's Day tea. Now, if you want to right about now, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this in this mason jar here. By the way, the best way I have found to get tea into a mason jar is to get a canning funnel with the really wide bottom. And that just helps you get that tea right into the mason jar without making a mess, okay? Alrighty, there we go. And I've got a little bit more than a full mason jar, which is just fine. All right, let's talk about how to prepare this. So you take about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons full per cup. Pour your boiling water over, let it steep for about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20, and take your infuser out or strain off the herbs and sip and enjoy it. That's it. If you want to sweeten it, you can add some Rapadura sugar or some honey or some other natural sweetener. And a lot of people like to add milk or cream. That's the tradition in India. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy this lovely tea blend and have fun with it. Oh, I was going to tell you about another ingredient you could add. You could add cayenne pepper. Just now, when I say cayenne pepper in this amount, I'm talking, you know how I was using a tablespoon for a part? I would literally probably use maybe 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne and really blend it in well. You know, if you wanted to go up a little bit more, you could, if you love cayenne, you could add a little more. But the cayenne is super good for your circulation, all right? So if you want to use this as an aphrodisiac kind of tea, adding a little cayenne pepper is kind of fun, especially if you or your partner like spice. All right, enjoy this tea, have fun with it. Remember to buy organic, and please subscribe. And check me out on Healing Harvest Homestead. I've got a ton of articles over there. In fact, this recipe is over there. Just go to www.healingharvesthomestead.com and do a little search for Rosy or Chai, C-H-A-I, and it'll come up. All right, have an awesome day, and I will see you soon.